And what up everybody, it's Adam and JK. Welcome to part 6 to what if Deku could use Chakra, and now let's get to the intro.
I'm not the one you wanna fuck with. Late nights messing up my sleep, so I'm flustered. Taking out aggression with my pen because I trust it. Right in front of get myself a lamb color cuss for the game. Leave him hanging by his chain. Click bang, feeling rage, feeling fire in my brain, feel insane. And it's slowly feel the flames with the frost to my brain, bringing more please no glory.
Okay, so last time we left off, it was before the fitness exam. So Aizawa basically walks in, and everybody's just seemed to crowding the number one person who actually got first place in the practical and the theory exam. So he's like, everybody calm down. Now, we're doing a fitness exam. We're skipping the orientation. So let's get out there, and I'll like to see you in your sports uniform in the fitness field. Oh, and by the way, whoever comes last will be expelled on the spot. Aizawa walks out with his sleeping bag, and everybody's just left there shocked. He's like, what? We're gonna get expelled? Well, that's UA for you. So everybody gets ready and they head out, and basically Aizawa says, oh, well, now we're gonna be testing your quirks and how you use them in different situations. He throws a ball to Midoriya or Deku and tells him to throw it at his, however you want to throw it with your quirk. And you have to get as far as you can. So he basically puts a mark on the ball, his teleportation mark. He throws it really far and it goes really far, but then he teleports to the ball in midair and basically throws it again, teleports to it again and again and again, and he basically does it over and over again until Aizawa is fed up and says, okay, infinity, and gives Deku infinity because he can keep the ball up forever. Everyone basically wants to go ask Deku what he just did, and he basically tells them that, oh, whatever I put these seals on, I can basically teleport to these seals. So I put the seal on a ball, and whenever I threw it, I teleported to the ball in midair and basically grabbed it and threw it again. And that's how I can make it infinity. Uraraka goes next, and she basically gets infinity again, and this time Deku actually ties with Uraraka in first place. So the next step is the 50-meter dash. He's versing Ida, and he basically throws his kunai at the end and basically teleports to it. He gets 0.1 seconds because he basically put his kunai there before the timer actually starts. So yeah, he doesn't really have to take that much time to throw a kunai and then teleport. So Ida's like, isn't that cheating? He used the weapon. He's like, well, he used his quirk, so it's not that cheating. And then Ida basically appreciates Deku. He's like, you're the fastest in this class. And then we move on to the side-to-side jumps. Deku basically puts 2 kunais at each side and basically teleports, and he gets 100,000 side-to-side jumps in about 1 minute. Everybody's just looking at him, and he just looks like a black blur. So, or black flash, or so. Maybe that might be his name, but his name is actually going to be Hokage. Then the long jump, he basically throws the kunai basically as far as he can, and then he gets first place again because he basically throws it over every single other person's jump record and basically teleports there. So yeah, then all the tests are finished. Deku actually comes in first place because of all the different unique ways he uses his quirk. So everybody's impressed. Let's move on to a few days later, where it's the hero versus villain assessment, and All Might is in charge of the class. All Might gets there. He basically tells everyone we're doing an assessment, a combat assessment. He basically pulls out like a villain draw box and a hero draw box, and he basically pulls out names to the hero team and the villain team. Deku and Bakugo basically put together, and Deku is with Uraraka, Bakugo is with Ida, and they basically square off. Ida's team or Bakugo's team is the villain team, and Deku's team is the hero team. Deku basically tells Uraraka, do you want this to happen easily and quickly? We can do that easily right now. And Uraraka's like, okay, if there's a way for you to basically win us a win immediately, then why not? And Deku basically touches the wall inside of the building, and this is after the timer basically starts. He basically knows where this place is of every single person. So Bakugo is basically still in the top because he knows that Deku can basically teleport there and get behind him, and he's going for the win. So he doesn't want to waste time in a duel or a battle because he doesn't really care. He doesn't bully Deku because Deku's always been like the better person, and he always strives to become better than Deku. So he basically gets to the area. He's like right underneath the stairs of the final floor where the bomb is. He basically opens up the window, then basically not the window, but it opens up the gate, and then throws a smoke bomb to cover his presence and not that anybody can look, and they can focus on the smoke cloud instead of above them. Deku basically throws a kunai at the ceiling, and nobody notices the kunai because they're basically just trying to find out where Deku's inside the smoke cloud. And Deku just teleports in front of them. He basically attaches his feet to the wall because he has chakra and stuff, and then throws the kunai behind the bomb and basically teleports behind the bomb and touches it. And then while they're basically looking at the cloud waiting for Deku to come out, which he's already done, basically All Might basically shouts out that, oh, the hero team has won, and they basically go behind the bomb, and then they see Deku touching the bomb, and everybody's like, whoa, Deku's so amazing. And All Might actually says this to Deku. He's like, that was really brilliant, you finished the job without with minimum damage or minimum violence, so that was pretty good. So let's move on to the USJ. Deku has his outfit. Oh, by the way, everybody, he has that long cape that Sasuke has, the adult Sasuke. But instead of just having a full black cape, at the back it says Hokage in like blue writing because he likes the combination black and blue. And he has all the weapons on him. They're not sealed away except for his kunai. The kunais are all sealed away, but the other weapons like the smoke bombs, the kunai, the whips that he has, the whips because to like basically tie up people and also charge electricity through them to basically electrocute them with the whips. But those are like last resorts, and the last resort is his sword too because that's like damaged them. So yeah, so they get to the USJ. The hero 13, she basically explains everything that's inside the USJ, all the different areas, what USJ stands for, the unforeseen simulation joint. And they basically go inside. A giant portal opens up in the middle of the USJ. Aizawa notices this and basically tells everyone, this is not a drill, this is not fake, this is not a test, this is actually real villains, and I'm gonna go down there. Deku basically asks Aizawa, do I have permission to commence in battle? And Aizawa basically looks at Deku and is like, fine. And because he knows Deku is like one of the best people, and he also knows that Deku actually healed All Might, so he knows a lot of stuff. So he basically goes down with Aizawa. Aizawa has a less harder time fighting the villains because Deku is there first of all, and Deku actually takes down a lot of villains. He creates like let's say 100 clones, and there's Aizawa, there's 100 clones of Deku and the real Deku. They're fighting everyone. Then the students get teleported. Deku notices this. Ida actually gets teleported too, and he doesn't really know. So he sends his clones out to All Might. All Might's injury. He just wants to. All Might's not there, by the way. He's still at the coffee table because he's like, okay, I'm gonna rest for a while because I just did training, so I'll rest and give myself some time, drink tea, and then I'll get there because it's not really that important. They'll start without me. So All Might's drinking tea in his buff form. I mean, he always stays in his buff form because he's completely healed, by the way. So he always stays in his buff form, and then basically Deku basically tells him like, the USJ building is getting attacked, you need to go. He basically teleports All Might back into the USJ building, and he basically gets ready, starts attacking everyone, jumps in, and Deku teleports to Principal Nezu's office, and then he tells Nezu presses a button underneath his desk, basically creating a mic and basically telling every single hero or teacher in the vicinity or in the entire school that the USJ building is being attacked by villains. You need to get there ASAP. So everybody starts heading over there. Deku basically teleports out of there, or basically deactivates his clone jutsu, and basically gets all the information to the other clones, and everybody just smiles and starts attacking everyone. He goes to the other zone, or the water zone. He charges Chidori through the entire water, electrocuting everyone. But some people didn't really get affected, so he does a water dragon hydro jutsu, and then they're like, come on, we can breathe underwater, you idiot. And then he's like, okay, water dragon hydro, water jutsu, and lightning jutsu, and he channels a lightning current through the water dragon or water hydra and starts electrocuting every single person there except for Suye and Mineta because they're on the ship. And then he basically uses water style to move the ship towards the mainland, and they basically jump off. Deku forcefully teleports both of them to 13 to take care of him because 13 was attacked, remember, and he accidentally used his own basically black hole on himself, and his suit was completely destroyed. So he basically teleports them to 13's area because, you know, Minato can do that. And then basically Shigaraki is looking at this, and he basically tells the Nomu to take down this kid who basically created clones and tries to take down everyone. So Nobu goes there, taking down clone after clone, and all the informations and all the horrible moments that the clones have been taking down basically come rushing towards Deku's memories, and he's like, the Nomu, damn it. And Deku, from all the experiences from his shadow clones, he already knows that this is like exactly the same speed as All Might, so he won't stand a chance. He can only like stand a chance for like a few minutes for 50 for 50 seconds. No, not 50 seconds, because he has a 3-tomo Sharingan. So he can stand about 80% of the Nomu's power, but if the Nomu goes all out, he doesn't stand a chance. So he tries to rush towards Nomu, and then he basically realizes that the Nomu is just destroying Aizawa, and Aizawa is just moving there. Aizawa is just still there in his own blood puddle, and Deku basically thinks that this is like Aizawa's death, and Aizawa's dead. That's what he thinks, and he's mad at the Nomu. But then he basically looks at Shigaraki. He's like, "Tell your Nomu to get off of Aizawa." And then his Sharingan turns into a Mangekyo Sharingan, and then this word basically pops out in his mind. It says Tsukuyomi, Tsukuyomi, Tsukuyomi. He's like, "Damn, what is these words?" And he basically activates his Sharingan and says, Tsukuyomi. And basically, he makes eye contact with Shigaraki, sending Shigaraki into a bending time and space genjutsu, and Deku basically stabs him with a sword 1,000,000 times, 30 days straight, but it's only like 3 seconds in this real world. And Shigaraki, after 3 seconds, just falls on the ground in pain, and he's like breathing hard, trying to get his breath back, and he's like, "Korigiri, take me out of here." And then he basically uses the Sharingan, or basically the Susanoo, and because he knows this from what do you call it, Orochimaru, because like when you unlock your Mangekyo Sharingan, there's this thing called Susanoo, and you can activate it and use it like this giant avatar. So the Susanoo basically comes out, the skeleton version, grabs a Nomu and completely crushes his head like a Titan, or in Attack on Titan, just like how they do it. So he crushes his head, and the Nomu's completely dead. And in the Tsukuyomi, for the 30 days that Deku was basically torturing him, he also got some information out. He found out that the League of Villains actually are run by this someone called Father, and basically he has the quirk to take people's quirks and give it to others. So this is a really useful information. And he also finds out what the Nomu is. He's like, "Oh, we experimented with people and basically turned them into monsters, mindless creatures, by putting in a lot of quirks inside of them." And then he also finds this out, and then he gets a lot of information about the next plans of the League of Villains and what their purpose was here to basically come here. And then All Might basically is like surprised, like, what power was this, and why did that villain or villain leader just after 3 seconds, he just basically came on the floor and, well, that sounds wrong. He just basically dropped on the floor and basically started crying and stuff. So the other people arrived there, and basically the USJ incident is completely wrapped up, and basically the police members, or the head of the police, basically asked Deku what happened, and he basically explains, "I got a new upgrade to my power, and my quirk is basically like getting information out of people, and I got information out about that Shigaraki dude." And he basically tells him everything. The League of Villains are run by this person called Father. He has the ability to take quirks and give quirks. He finds out from All Might that that's one for all, or all for one, and he's still alive and stuff like that. And he also tells him that the Nomu, what it is, what quirks it had, and what its purpose was, and it was the purpose to kill All Might. So yeah, thankfully no one actually got hurt because of Deku. He had a lot of clones going throughout the USJ to helping everyone in every situation. And he basically goes up to Aizawa, gives him his 1,000 healing marks, and completely healing Aizawa, so he doesn't really have any damage to his quirk, so he doesn't get weaker, so he doesn't have that time limit that he had in the canon. So yeah, everything is good, and basically Aizawa tells them they have 1 week off, or not 1 week, 1 day off, and the day after that they'll be coming back to school because we need to investigate about that. But Deku doesn't really have a day off because a lot of people have to ask him about the incident and what their purpose was, so he basically talks to everyone for the day that everybody's off, and he's just basically in charge of, or basically helping out the people that are in charge of the investigation. So yeah, the day that at the end of the day, basically after the investigation's done, he basically goes to Orochimaru and shows him his Mangekyo Sharingan, and Orochimaru's like, "Okay, it's time." And he basically like goes to a lab that he just recently got because he recently interned to become a scientist, and he got his own lab because everyone was shocked at the amount of intelligence this snake dude has, and they automatically gave him his own lab to research about different stuff and experiment and all that stuff. So he has his own lab now, and basically he's like, okay, he pulls out a pair of Sharingans, and it's Sasuke's Sharingans. So this means he'll be able to basically access the Susanoo at like the full potential, his full body, and he can fly and stuff. He also has a Totsuka blade, which basically seals a lot of stuff that it basically cuts into, and he also has the flame control and Amaterasu, and also has what do you call it, Tsukuyomi. So he basically transplants it inside his eyes, and basically he uses 1,000 healing mark to basically heal his entire eyes in one day. So he has the internal Mangekyo Sharingan now, and he basically he uses the rest of the day to basically learn how to use the Amaterasu. He learns how to use his Susanoo. He also learns how to use his Tsukuyomi. And that's it, guys. Hope you guys like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and as always, Anime Junkie out.